The Church of Scientology, often shrouded in secrecy, faces a new legal battle. A lawsuit alleging forced marriage has been filed against the organization. However, the plaintiff remains anonymous, sending ripples of curiosity and speculation through the media and the public. This case is not just a legal battle, it's a story about power, control, and the courage to speak out, even from the shadows. The lawsuit's details remain confidential to protect the plaintiff. This anonymity adds another layer of complexity to an already intricate case. The question on everyone's mind: why would someone remain anonymous while making such serious accusations? The use of anonymity in lawsuits is not uncommon. It serves as a shield for individuals who fear retaliation or who wish to protect their privacy in the face of intense public scrutiny. In this case, the plaintiff's anonymity is central to understanding the gravity of the allegations. It hints at a climate of fear and the potential consequences of speaking out against a powerful and controversial institution like the Church of Scientology. This lawsuit is not merely a legal proceeding, it's a human story. It's about an individual who, despite the risks, seeks justice and accountability. As the case unfolds, the world watches, waiting for the silent accuser's story to be heard and for the truth to emerge from behind the veil of anonymity. The Church of Scientology has long captivated the public imagination. Its blend of spirituality, celebrity association, and controversial practices has been a source of endless fascination and debate. This latest lawsuit, with its cloak of anonymity, further fuels the intrigue surrounding the organization. The very nature of the allegations, centered on such a personal and fundamental right as marriage, strikes at the heart of individual autonomy and freedom of choice. The plaintiff's decision to remain anonymous speaks volumes, feeding into the narrative of Scientology as an organization that operates under a veil of secrecy. The public, accustomed to whispers of unusual practices within the church, is now presented with a legal battle that could potentially expose the inner workings of this enigmatic institution. The media frenzy surrounding the case is unavoidable. The combination of a high-profile organization, serious allegations, and the mystery surrounding the plaintiff's identity is a recipe for intense scrutiny. Every development, every court filing is meticulously analyzed, dissected, and debated in the court of public opinion. This case, however, transcends mere celebrity gossip or sensationalism. It delves into fundamental questions about the balance of power within religious organizations, the limits of religious freedom, and the importance of protecting individual rights. The outcome of this lawsuit could have far-reaching implications, not just for the Church of Scientology, but for how society grapples with allegations of abuse and coercion within religious contexts. To understand the weight of the current lawsuit, it's crucial to examine the Church of Scientology's history. Founded in 1954 by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology has always courted controversy. Its core beliefs, centered around the idea of humans as spiritual beings called thetans, have been met with both intrigue and skepticism. However, it's the organization's structure and practices that have drawn the most significant criticism over the years. Scientology operates with a hierarchical structure, with members progressing through various levels of spiritual enlightenment. Critics argue that this structure fosters a culture of control, with those at the top wielding immense power over lower-ranking members. Allegations of forced labor, financial exploitation, and disconnection from family members who leave the church have plagued Scientology for decades. Former members, many of whom have spoken out publicly, paint a picture of an organization that demands absolute loyalty and obedience from its followers. The current lawsuit, alleging forced marriage, aligns with these historical accusations of coercion and control. It suggests that the church may use its influence to dictate the personal lives of its members, even in matters as intimate and life-altering as marriage. While the church vehemently denies these allegations, the lawsuit has reignited the debate about the organization's practices and its impact on the lives of its followers. The plaintiff's decision to file this lawsuit anonymously speaks volumes about the perceived risks involved in publicly challenging the Church of Scientology. Former members have faced intense scrutiny, harassment, and even alleged intimidation tactics after speaking out against the organization. This culture of fear, cultivated over decades, makes the plaintiff's anonymity not just understandable, but essential for their safety and well-being. Anonymity in this case becomes a shield against potential retaliation. It allows the plaintiff to seek justice and accountability without the fear of facing the full force of the church's response. This is not to say that anonymous lawsuits are without their drawbacks. Critics argue that anonymity can sometimes shield frivolous lawsuits or unfairly tarnish reputations without the opportunity for a proper defense. However, in cases involving powerful organizations and allegations of abuse, anonymity serves as a crucial tool for empowering victims to come forward. It levels the playing field, allowing individuals to challenge institutions that might otherwise silence them through fear and intimidation. The court in this case faces a delicate balancing act. It must weigh the plaintiff's right to anonymity and protection against the church's right to a fair trial. This delicate dance between transparency and protection is at the heart of this lawsuit, highlighting the complexities of seeking justice in cases involving allegations of abuse within powerful organizations. The outcome of this lawsuit has the potential to send shockwaves far beyond the confines of the courtroom. A victory for the plaintiff could embolden other potential victims to come forward, potentially leading to further legal action against the church. It could also force the church to confront its past, address its controversial practices, and potentially reevaluate its approach to dealing with dissent and criticism. On the other hand, a dismissal of the lawsuit could have a chilling effect on future allegations. It could reinforce the perception of Scientology as an untouchable entity, further discouraging individuals from coming forward with their own stories. The legal battle, regardless of the outcome, will undoubtedly leave a lasting mark on the public perception of the Church of Scientology. This case also highlights the broader issue of accountability within religious organizations. As institutions that often operate with a degree of autonomy and secrecy, religious groups can sometimes become breeding grounds for abuse of power. The lawsuit against Scientology serves as a stark reminder of the need for greater transparency and accountability within religious organizations, ensuring that they are not above the law and that the rights of their members are protected. The silent accuser's story, shrouded in anonymity, has the potential to spark a much-needed conversation about power, control, and the pursuit of justice, even within the seemingly impenetrable walls of a controversial and powerful institution. The lawsuit's allegations, shrouded in anonymity, have sparked a wave of skepticism. Critics, some with long-standing reservations about Scientology, question the plaintiff's motives. They point to the lack of specific details made public, suggesting the lawsuit might be an attempt to smear the church's reputation. Others, while acknowledging the seriousness of the accusations, urge caution, emphasizing the importance of due process and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. This initial wave of doubt is not uncommon in high-profile cases, especially those involving accusations against powerful organizations. The Church of Scientology, with its history of vehemently defending itself against criticism, is quick to denounce the lawsuit as baseless and defamatory. Their spokespeople, appearing in carefully orchestrated interviews, dismiss the allegations as fabrications, part of a broader campaign to discredit the organization. This clash between accusation and denial, fueled by the plaintiff's anonymity, creates a climate of uncertainty. The public, bombarded with conflicting narratives, struggles to discern truth from fiction. The lack of a clearly identifiable accuser adds to the complexity, making it difficult to assess the credibility of the claims. This initial phase of doubt and skepticism is a crucial test for the lawsuit. The plaintiff's legal team, aware of the challenges posed by anonymity and the church's history of aggressive litigation, must carefully navigate this early stage, laying the groundwork for a case that can withstand intense scrutiny and ultimately convince the court of the allegations' merit. This is not the first time the Church of Scientology has faced accusations related to its practices around marriage and relationships. Over the years, numerous former members have come forward with stories alleging coercion and control within the organization, particularly regarding personal relationships. One recurring theme in these accounts involves the Church's alleged practice of disconnection. This policy, according to former members, encourages Scientologists to sever ties with family and friends who are critical of the church or who choose to leave the organization. Critics argue that this practice isolates members, making them more dependent on the church and vulnerable to manipulation. Another area of contention is the role of the Sea Org, Scientology's dedicated order. Sea Org members make a billion-year commitment to the church and live a highly regimented lifestyle, often with limited contact with the outside world. Former Sea Org members have alleged that they faced pressure to enter or end relationships based on the church's needs rather than their own. While the church maintains that disconnection is a voluntary practice and that the Sea Org operates with the consent of its members, these past allegations create a context for understanding the current lawsuit. The allegations of forced marriage, while shocking to some, resonate with a broader pattern of accusations regarding the church's control over its members' personal lives. Section 3. The Sea Org. At the heart of many controversies surrounding Scientology lies the Sea Organization, often referred to as the Sea Org. Founded by L. Ron Hubbard in 1967, this elite paramilitary-style group within Scientology is tasked with handling the church's most important functions. Sea Org members dedicate their lives to the organization, signing a billion-year contract and often living communally in church facilities. Sea Org members adhere to a strict code of conduct and undergo rigorous training. They are expected to prioritize the church's mission above all else, including personal relationships and family ties. Marriage and having children, while not forbidden, are often discouraged, especially for those in the early years of their service. The rationale, as presented by the church, is that family ties can distract from the all-consuming dedication required of Sea Org members. Critics argue that this intense focus on the church's mission, combined with the Sea Org's demanding lifestyle and hierarchical structure, creates an environment ripe for exploitation. Former members have alleged that they were pressured to delay or even abandon plans for marriage and family because it interfered with their duties or because their chosen partners were deemed unsuitable by the church. The Sea Org's practices, particularly its impact on personal relationships, have been the subject of intense scrutiny and criticism. Former members paint a picture of an organization that demands absolute loyalty and often prioritizes its own needs over the individual desires of its members. While the church maintains that Sea Org members freely choose their commitment, the allegations of pressure and control regarding marriage and family life persist, raising concerns about potential coercion within this secretive and demanding branch of Scientology. Section 4. Breaking Free. Stories from former Sea Org members who dared to challenge the church's control over their personal lives provide a glimpse into the potential consequences of such defiance. These individuals, often risking their standing within the organization and facing the possibility of disconnection from loved ones, chose to prioritize their own desires for love and family. Some former members recount being pressured to end relationships with partners who were not Scientologists or who were deemed suppressive persons by the church. Others allege they were coerced into marrying fellow Scientologists, even if they had no romantic feelings for them, to facilitate the church's goals or maintain a particular image. These acts of defiance often came at a high cost. Former members who chose to leave the Sea Org or who were expelled for marrying against the church's wishes faced the loss of their community, their support system, and often, their families. The church's policy of disconnection, according to these former members, created a powerful deterrent, discouraging dissent and reinforcing the organization's control over its members' lives. The courage of these individuals to break free from what they perceived as a system of control over their personal lives highlights the potential human cost of the church's policies. Their stories, often shared at great personal risk, provide valuable insight into the inner workings of Scientology and the pressures faced by those who dare to challenge its authority, particularly in matters as personal and fundamental as love and marriage. Section 5. A pattern of control. The current lawsuit alleging forced marriage within the Church of Scientology does not exist in a vacuum. It emerges against a backdrop of decades-old accusations concerning the organization's control over its members' personal lives. The allegations, while distinct in their specifics, echo a recurring theme of coercion and manipulation. Former members, through their testimonies and accounts, have painted a picture of an organization that employs various tactics to exert influence over its followers. The policy of disconnection, the alleged pressure within the Sea Org regarding relationships, and the accounts of individuals feeling coerced into or out of marriages all point to a pattern of control that extends beyond spiritual guidance and into the realm of personal autonomy. Critics argue that the Church's hierarchical structure, its emphasis on obedience and loyalty, and its use of alleged intimidation tactics create an environment where individuals may feel pressured to conform to the organization's expectations, even at the expense of their own desires and free will. The Church, for its part, vehemently denies these accusations. They maintain that their policies are designed to protect the spiritual well-being of their members, and that individuals are free to make their own choices. They argue that former members who speak out against the Church are often disgruntled individuals with an axe to grind or are motivated by financial gain. Despite the Church's denials, the recurring nature of these allegations, spanning several decades and coming from individuals with diverse backgrounds and experiences within Scientology, raises serious questions about the organization's practices and their impact on its members' lives. Section 6. The weight of evidence. The challenge for the plaintiff's legal team lies in presenting sufficient evidence to convince the court. Anonymity presents legal hurdles, balancing privacy with a fair trial. The Church of Scientology is expected to mount a vigorous defense. They will challenge the plaintiff's credibility and portray the lawsuit as a broader campaign. Overcoming these challenges requires a meticulous approach. Gathering testimonies and presenting internal documents will be crucial. The weight of evidence will determine the outcome of this lawsuit. Section 1. Blind justice. The scales of justice, often depicted blindfolded to symbolize impartiality, face a unique challenge in the Scientology forced marriage lawsuit. The plaintiff's anonymity throws a veil over one side of the scale, testing the very notion of open and transparent legal proceedings. The court must weigh the plaintiff's right to privacy and protection against the defendant's right to confront their accuser and mount a proper defense. Maintaining the plaintiff's anonymity throughout the entirety of the case is a complex undertaking. Every court filing, every piece of evidence presented, must be carefully scrutinized to ensure it does not inadvertently reveal the plaintiff's identity. This requires a delicate balancing act, with the court acting as a guardian of both the plaintiff's safety and the integrity of the legal process. The Church of Scientology, with its history of aggressive litigation tactics, is likely to challenge the plaintiff's anonymity at every turn. They will argue that concealing the accuser's identity hinders their ability to investigate the claims, prepare a defense, and cross-examine witnesses effectively. This legal tug-of-war between protecting the plaintiff and ensuring a fair trial will be a central theme throughout the proceedings. The court faces a delicate task, determining the extent to which anonymity can be maintained without compromising the defendant's rights. This might involve redacting sensitive information from court documents, holding certain hearings in closed sessions, or even allowing the plaintiff to testify anonymously, using voice modulation or a screen to shield their identity. Each decision will have implications for both sides, shaping the narrative of the case and potentially influencing its outcome. Section 2. The right to confrontation. A cornerstone of the American legal system is the Sixth Amendment right to confrontation. This right guarantees defendants the opportunity to confront their accusers in court, to challenge their testimony, and to present a defense. However, this right, while fundamental, is not absolute. It must be balanced against other competing interests, such as the plaintiff's right to privacy and protection from potential harm. In the Scientology forced marriage case, the plaintiff's anonymity directly collides with the Church's right to confrontation. The Church will undoubtedly argue that without knowing the identity of their accuser, they are at a significant disadvantage. They cannot effectively investigate the allegations, scrutinize the plaintiff's background for potential biases or ulterior motives, or prepare a targeted defense. The court, in this case, will likely consider a range of factors when determining how to balance these competing rights. They will assess the severity of the allegations, the potential for retaliation against the plaintiff if their identity is revealed, the nature of the evidence presented, and the availability of alternative means for the church to mount a defense. This balancing act is not a simple equation. It requires a nuanced understanding of the legal principles at play, a careful consideration of the specific facts of the case, and a recognition of the potential consequences for both sides. The court's decisions regarding the plaintiff's anonymity will have far-reaching implications, not just for this particular case, but for how future cases involving sensitive allegations and powerful defendants are handled. Section 3. Precedent and Protection. The use of anonymous plaintiffs in lawsuits is not unprecedented. Courts have historically recognized the need to protect individuals from potential harm, especially in cases involving allegations of sexual assault, domestic violence, or actions against powerful entities that could retaliate. These cases often hinge on a delicate balance between transparency and protection, with legal precedent guiding the way. One landmark case that shaped the legal landscape surrounding anonymous plaintiffs is, in this landmark 1973 case, the Supreme Court allowed the plaintiff, Jane Roe, to remain anonymous to protect her privacy and safety while challenging the constitutionality of a Texas law criminalizing abortion. The court recognized that the sensitive nature of the case and the potential stigma associated with abortion warranted anonymity. Another significant case is in 2010. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled that the state of Washington could not release the names of citizens who signed a petition opposing same-sex marriage, citing concerns about potential harassment and intimidation. This case demonstrated the court's willingness to protect individuals from potential harm, even when it involved public disclosure of political views. These cases, along with numerous others, provide legal precedent for the use of anonymous plaintiffs in situations where revealing their identity could lead to significant harm or discourage others from coming forward with similar claims. The Scientology forced marriage lawsuit, with its allegations of coercion within a controversial and powerful organization, falls within this realm, making the plaintiff's anonymity a crucial element in ensuring their safety and the pursuit of justice. Section 4. Shielded Voices. Maintaining the plaintiff's anonymity throughout the legal process requires a multifaceted approach. Courts have various tools at their disposal to protect the identities of individuals involved in sensitive cases, each with its own advantages and limitations. One common method is the use of pseudonyms. Instead of using the plaintiff's real name, the court might allow them to proceed under a fictitious name, such as Jane Doe or John Roe. This pseudonym would be used in all court documents, hearings, and public records associated with the case, shielding the plaintiff's true identity. In addition to pseudonyms, courts can implement protective orders that limit the disclosure of sensitive information. These orders might prohibit the defendant, their legal team, and any witnesses from revealing the plaintiff's identity or any identifying details about the case. Violation of such an order could result in contempt of court charges. During court proceedings, the judge can take steps to further safeguard the plaintiff's anonymity. This might include allowing the plaintiff to testify from behind a screen or using voice modulation technology to disguise their voice. The court might also hold certain hearings in closed sessions, limiting access to the public and the media to protect the plaintiff's identity. These measures, while essential for protecting the plaintiff, are not without their critics. Some argue that excessive use of anonymity can undermine the principle of open justice, making it difficult for the public to scrutinize court proceedings and hold both sides accountable. However, in cases involving vulnerable plaintiffs and powerful defendants, such measures are often necessary to level the playing field and ensure access to justice. Section 5. Public interest versus personal privacy. The Scientology forced marriage lawsuit highlights the tension between the public's right to know and the individual's right to privacy. This fundamental conflict is often amplified in high-profile cases involving sensitive allegations and powerful institutions. On one hand, the public has a vested interest in understanding the inner workings of institutions that wield significant influence and in holding them accountable for any wrongdoing. Open and transparent legal proceedings are essential for maintaining public trust in the justice system and ensuring that justice is not only served but seen to be served. On the other hand, Individuals have a right to privacy, particularly when it comes to sensitive matters such as their personal relationships, religious beliefs, or experiences with abuse. This right to privacy is not absolute, but it must be carefully weighed against the public's right to know. In the Scientology case, the plaintiff's anonymity directly impacts the public's ability to fully understand the details of the allegations and to assess the credibility of both sides. The court must strike a delicate balance, releasing enough information to keep the public informed while protecting the plaintiff's identity and preventing the disclosure of sensitive details that could put them at risk. This balancing act often involves redacting sensitive information from court documents, issuing carefully worded summaries of proceedings, and engaging in ongoing dialogue with the media to address concerns about transparency while protecting the plaintiff's privacy. It's a complex and evolving process, with no easy answers, requiring courts to weigh competing interests on a case-by-case basis. Section 6. Transparency in the shadows. Anonymity in legal cases presents challenges to transparency. Courts must balance protecting plaintiffs with public access to information. Non-sensitive information should be available to the public. Identifying information is redacted. This allows public scrutiny of legal arguments and evidence. Detailed summaries can provide context without revealing identities. Summaries bridge the gap between confidentiality and transparency. The media plays a crucial role. They can report on legal arguments and evidence. Transparency requires collaboration between courts, legal teams, and media. Balancing secrecy and openness maintains public trust in the legal system. Section 1. Under the microscope. The lawsuit casts a long shadow over the Church of Scientology. Public perception is further complicated by this latest controversy. The media, sensing a story with secrecy, power, and alleged abuse, turns its attention to the organization. For skeptics, the lawsuit confirms their suspicions. Allegations of forced marriage reinforce the image of an organization outside societal norms. The plaintiff's anonymity fuels speculation and distrust. The impact on public perception is not uniform. The church retains a core group of devoted followers. These individuals may view the lawsuit as a baseless attack. They may rally around the church, offering unwavering support. The lawsuit's impact is multifaceted and nuanced. It deepens divides, reinforces notions, and sparks debate about faith and power. The true impact will be felt in the court of public opinion for years to come. Section 2. A crisis of faith? The lawsuit's allegations raise questions about the experiences of Scientology's current followers. Does this lawsuit lead to a crisis of faith among those dedicated to the organization's teachings? The answer is not easily defined. For some, the lawsuit may have little impact on their faith. They may view the allegations as a test of loyalty. The church's teachings could provide solace during this challenging time. However, for others, this lawsuit could serve as a catalyst for introspection. The allegations may clash with their personal values. This internal conflict is not unique to Scientology. Religious institutions have grappled with scandals and controversies. For some, these events strengthen faith. For others, they mark a turning point. The lawsuit has the potential to trigger soul-searching within the organization. It may lead to difficult conversations and internal debates. Section 3. The celebrity factor. The Church of Scientology boasts a roster of celebrity adherents who shape public perception and attract new followers. However, in times of controversy, their silence or support is scrutinized, influencing public opinion. This celebrity factor adds complexity to the case, highlighting the intersection of faith, fame, and public image. Section 4. Dissent and defiance. The lawsuit empowers former Scientologists and critics to come forward with their own stories. Their accounts provide a counter-narrative to the church's official stance, exposing alleged abuse. Critics seize the lawsuit as an opportunity to renew calls for scrutiny and accountability. The Scientology forced marriage lawsuit becomes a battleground for competing narratives. The plaintiff alleges coercion and control, while the church denies the claims, emphasizing religious freedom. The media shapes public discourse, often focusing on sensational aspects. The power of narrative influences public opinion and the outcome of legal battles. Section 6. Beyond Scientology. The lawsuit highlights accountability within religious institutions and the balance between religious freedom and individual rights. It raises concerns about potential abuse in organizations demanding unquestioning obedience. The case sparks a conversation about transparency, accountability, and the protection of victims. Section 1. The verdict's ripple effect. The verdict will impact the Church of Scientology, its members, and the broader societal conversation. A guilty verdict could embolden other victims and lead to significant consequences for the Church. A not guilty verdict might bolster the Church's claims of innocence but leave lingering doubts. Section 2. A reckoning or a resurgence. The lawsuit presents a choice for the Church: confront its past or double down on existing structures. A guilty verdict could force the Church to reform its policies and address allegations of abuse. The path the Church chooses will have profound implications for its future. Section 3. The price of silence, the power of voice. The plaintiff's anonymity highlights the personal costs of speaking truth to power. Their voice joins others who have risked much to expose injustice and demand accountability. The lawsuit contributes to the ongoing narrative of speaking truth to power and breaking silence. Section 4. Faith, freedom, and accountability. The lawsuit reignites the debate about religious freedom and individual autonomy. The Church claims protection under religious freedom, but this right is not absolute. The case underscores the need for transparency and accountability within religious organizations. Section 5. Unmasking the systems. The lawsuit exposes patterns of abuse and control common in various institutions. The Church's hierarchical structure and culture of secrecy are not unique. The case serves as a reminder of the systemic nature of abuse and the need for change. Section 6. The enduring quest for justice. The Scientology forced marriage lawsuit has captivated the public imagination, sparking debate and igniting passions. What enduring lessons can we take from this case? At its core, this lawsuit is a testament to the enduring human quest for justice, the innate desire to right wrongs, and to hold those in power accountable for their actions. The plaintiff's decision to come forward embodies this fundamental human yearning for a more just and equitable world. The pursuit of justice is rarely easy or straightforward. It is often a messy, complex, and imperfect process. Yet, despite these challenges, the pursuit of justice is a worthy endeavor. The quest for justice continues, fueled by the courage of those who speak truth to power, and the unwavering belief that a more just and equitable world is within our reach.